Hello guys. So I wanted to make a quick video kind of expressing some of the concerns I have in regards to 1.1. I believe that it's quite focused on newer players, or at least people of lower AR, and I want to preface this by saying that I don't believe the changes are bad in any way. The changes that they are doing are very, very welcome for people of very different ranks. You know, you can be AR 40, AR 30, AR 20. All of these will be positive things. There's, nothing that's negative. But the main concern I have is the fact that it's not enough. So the one thing I really wanted to talk about, and if I go to the notices page, I don't even know where to find the one that covers some of the changes coming. You can probably find all this on the website. But basically for 1.1, they're doing a couple of changes which aim to help with Animoculus, help with Geoculus, helping with, some convenience sake, like finding chests, as well as just a bunch of little tweaks just to help the early game experience. Or at least even if not early game, it helps a lot with just progressing through the game. So basically, the changes I believe are great, but they're really focused on the lower ranked players. Not saying that they won't be useful for someone, like I said, who's AR 40, who may be still collecting the Geoculus, maybe missing one or two, and it's great for you. However, when it comes to content, those changes are not going to address, not going to provide enough to do on the game for the next, 6 weeks until the next update for us to be happy with it. So I've taken a look, right? So I've taken a look at some of the posts that they've made, kind of detailing those changes, the quality of life, but as well as talking about things like quests. And as far as we can see, Adventure Rank 35 is where the main quest will pick up again, which means there is a bit of a lull between Adventure Rank 29, which is when you get your last quest, and Adventure Rank 35, which is when you get your next main story quest, basically, I think Archon quest or something they call it. So there is a bit of a lull, but a lot of people are beyond Adventure Rank 35. And with these quality of life changes, a lot of them are no longer applicable to those who have reached a certain rank. So or made a certain amount of exploration in the game. So things like the Animoculus as well as the Geoculus, those, me personally at the very least, and I think a lot of higher rank players will have completed that aspect of the game, found the Animoculus and found the Geoculus. And if you haven't, you are very, very likely only missing a few, which means on day one, if you go ahead and use those items, you'll find the last Animoculus, find the last Geoculus, be done with it, and that part of the update is now pointless because you won't even craft that item anymore. For me personally, I'm not even going to try to craft that item because there's none for me left to find, and unless they do come out, I'm not going to do so. In the future, when there is an update with a new map, a brand new set of them to collect, I will go ahead and make that item and go ahead and start searching for them properly, just by kind of running around. And when I get to a certain number, let's say 20 remaining, I will then start whipping out that compass in everywhere I go and hoping I can find them. Now the other thing, the chests. Now the chests are something that I think a lot of people can still make a pretty good use of. But some people have found 400 chests in Leeway, and some people have found 900 chests in Leeway. And obviously the use of that item is very different for those that have actually acquired majority of the chests compared to those that have not. So for myself, I'm sitting at 870 chests. By some calculations, there's probably about 1,050 chests in Leeway, which means there's a certain amount that I can still pick up using that item. So as I'm exploring, I will go ahead and do that. But what that means is that the item doesn't have as much use for me. So I'll use it for a little while, and it'll take me a couple of days, and maybe I'll find majority of the chests, and at that point, I'll just scan wherever I go and see if there's a chest nearby. That'll be fine. But so far, everything I've mentioned is pretty much for earlier levels, really, really useful, and for those later, not that useful. Now, the Wisp collection item that lets you glide slightly upwards, like a Venti, that itself is also not as useful because there's nothing that you need to get that's so high up anymore. If there was an Animoculus or Geoculus and you don't have your Geo Elemental, or you don't have something like, I'm assuming it may even help with animal puzzles or something if you can activate those spinny things. But even then, like if something was a bit higher up, you can now use that item to pick it up, and that's also pointless once you found all of the collectibles. And when it comes to those story quests, I have a big kind of concern in regards to how much content there will actually be, because a lot of people have spent the last 3 weeks even basically just collecting chests, doing daily commissions, and spending their resin on a daily basis. If the actual updated quests are just the level 35, as well as the level 40 child quest, because that will be the banner, Diona and Child. If you want me to talk about those banners and give me some of my thoughts, do let me know. I'll try to make a video about that tomorrow. But kind of looking at those two quests, I'm assuming that the Chong Li, I think that's his name, his quest line will take us to, maybe a couple thousand experience, but then it'll finish. And it'll be nice and it'll be welcoming to get a nice big long quests after having nothing for a while, but it feels like it's something that we will finish by the end of that week's weekend. So by the end of this week, majority of us will have finished all of those quests. And you can say you can take it slow, but then you're going to be spending the other times not doing anything anyway. So it's up to you. But if you do go through those quests and enjoy them, it's potential that within, let's say, 3 or 4 days, now you're completely finished with the whole content kind of chunk that they have released. Now the weekly bounties is one of the things that will potentially be quite nice, but it does feel like it's something that you would potentially knock out in 5 minutes after getting it. If it's a bounty to kill somebody, chances are you have a teleporter unlocked that's really close by. And for early players, maybe there's a person somewhere where they haven't unlocked or somewhere where they haven't been, and they have to make their way and make that long excursion, find loads of chests, take their time and find it. But if you have unlocked all the whole map, again, you can teleport there, chances are you can kill them, and if you can do all 3 of those quests within the first day, then your Monday can be really, really slow, because you do the world bosses, which take maybe 5 minutes a piece, so that's 10 minutes, that's 120 resin. You go ahead and you do your 3 bounties, and kind of do any touch-ups and commissions, and you're pretty much done in 30 minutes if you are quite efficient with your time. So I feel like that aspect in itself is not going to be super, super long. And the last thing that I wanted to talk about here is the reputation system. So they spoke about certain rewards that you receive, and so beautiful. So they spoke about certain rewards that you receive on a tier kind of basis on the reputation system, and you get reputation points for finding chests, raid points, so on and so forth. And I think it's going to be retroactive. I think that's the word you use to basically describe something that's going to kind of update from what you've done before. So if it says you have to find 800 chests in Leeway, and that's one of the reputations, let's say at a high level, that's probably already something you've done. So that's kind of a bit of an issue, because it feels like that chunk of the content, which would have been content, is probably going to be mostly complete when we finally get to experience it this Wednesday. And that to me means that a lot of the content that's been updated in 2 days is going to finish within a week at the very most. And then we are going to be stuck in the same situation we have been for the last 3 weeks, just grinding adventure rank. And I don't think that's going to be nice for the longevity of me wanting to play. So that's pretty much what my thoughts were. I'm hoping that I'm wrong, and I'm hoping that there's some things that I missed out on, or some things that surprised me. And of course, I'm going to say that we don't know exactly what is going to be fully in the patch. We don't have a full idea, because they have shared some of the information regarding it, but not everything. And we will find out on Wednesday, and I think there's going to be potentially some uproar. That's my prediction, that they will actually go ahead and say, this is not enough. This is not enough content. 1.2 will probably be the content patch, but with a 6-week cycle for updates, it's going to be very long. It's going to be very, very long for us to have to wait all of that time just to receive some content to do. And if the alternative is just grinding the same thing over and over, there's going to be a lot of people quitting. That's pretty much my prediction here. I don't know what you are thinking. Maybe it's perfect for you. Maybe you're a new player who's level 20 and still has a lot to collect, because I didn't finish my Geoculus until about AR 39, let's say, or even 36 maybe, I can't remember now, but that would have been useful for me. I didn't really struggle to find the last couple. I sort of just stumbled upon them when I was running around the world looking for chests. But that's also another part that will affect people, is the fact that if the chests are all found, and each area says how much you have explored it, there's no reason to go back there unless there's a mob that you need to kill or a boss that you want to fight. So the world's going to sort of feel more and more constricted until you clean it all out. So I'm going to start going on tangents here in regards to this. These are just my thoughts. I feel like this 1.1 update is going to be a bit disappointing for a lot of people. Many people will just sort of suck it up and carry on and do whatever, or try and just get their account to a certain point within that time, waiting for 1.2, potential AR rises, anything like that. But well, it is what it is. Another thing, just before I end the video, I was kind of sitting around Discord with some people I know, and we were doing some calculations on how long AR levels would take as a free-to-play player, and I think we came up with 165 days at 2.7 thousand experience per day, including commissions and resin, not including any updates in that point, any extra quests, anything like that, which will skew the results. It will take 165 days to get to level 60 from 50. But yeah, that's it. As a sort of final point. So again, if you want to ask me about the Child and Diona banner and see kind of what I think, or give you some ideas that I have, I can share that with you. Just let me know. But this is just my quick overview of 1.1 and what I think is going to be the community's view towards it, and how I think it's going to cause a lot of YouTube videos from a lot of people in regards to how disappointed they are with the amount of content, because for a lot of people, they've spent the last 2 weeks sort of just itching and hoping that they get a little bit more, that they're going to get a big insert of experience and so on. But I feel like it's going to finish within a couple of days, because people are going to be higher AR than the requirement to do those quests, and that's just going to leave people in the same spot, maybe 1 or 2 levels higher than they were before. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed kind of my overview, my thoughts on the patch. Obviously, we don't know everything, like I said. We'll find that out in a couple of days, but this is my sort of preemptive idea on the notes that they have given us. Alright guys, well, take care. Have a good day.